From Charlemagne's empire to modern monarchs, individual European rulers shaped nations through conquest, diplomacy, and revolution. Meet the kings and queens who built dynasties, fought epic wars, and changed the course of history. 1. Charlemagne 768 to 814. Charlemagne, king of the Franks and later Holy Roman Emperor, united most of Western Europe under his rule and was crowned emperor by Pope Leo III on Christmas Day, 800 AD. His vast empire stretched from the Pyrenees to the Elbe River, reviving Roman imperial authority in the West. Known as the Father of Europe, he promoted education, Christianity, and legal reforms throughout his territories. Charlemagne established the Carolingian Renaissance, encouraging learning and preserving classical texts. His court at Aachen became the center of European culture and politics. Though his empire fragmented after his death, his legacy as the first Holy Roman Emperor established a tradition that would last over 1,000 years. 2. Otto the Great 936 to 973. Otto I of Germany became the most powerful ruler of the 10th century, earning the title the Great through his military victories and political reforms. He defeated the Magyars at the Battle of Lechfeld in 955, ending their raids into Western Europe and securing his eastern borders. Otto revived the Holy Roman Empire when Pope John XII crowned him emperor in 962, establishing the medieval German Empire that would dominate Central Europe for centuries. He skillfully used the church to strengthen royal authority, appointing bishops and abbots as imperial administrators. Otto's reign marked the beginning of the Ottonian Renaissance, a period of cultural and artistic revival. 3. William the Conqueror 1066 to 1087. William I, Duke of Normandy, became King of England after defeating Harold Godwin's son at the Battle of Hastings in 1066, fundamentally transforming English culture, language, and governance. His victory marked the beginning of Norman rule in England and the last successful invasion of the British Isles. William commissioned the Domesday Book, a detailed survey of his kingdom's lands and resources that revolutionized medieval administration. He introduced feudalism to England, redistributing land to his Norman supporters and building castles across the country. Every British monarch since 1066 can trace their ancestry back to William, including current King Charles III. 4. Louis IX, St. Louis, 1226 to 1270. Louis IX of France, later canonized as St. Louis, embodied the medieval ideal of the Christian king and became one of Europe's most revered monarchs. His reign marked the height of French medieval power, with Paris becoming Europe's largest city and intellectual center. Louis led 2 crusades to the Holy Land, demonstrating his deep religious commitment, though both expeditions ended in failure. He established the principle of royal justice, personally hearing cases under an oak tree at Vincennes and creating a more equitable legal system. His Sainte-Chapelle in Paris remains one of Gothic architecture's greatest masterpieces. St. Louis became the patron saint of France. 5. Charles V Habsburg 1519 to 1556. Charles V ruled the largest European empire since Charlemagne, holding the titles of Holy Roman Emperor, King of Spain, and ruler of vast territories in Italy, the Netherlands, and the Americas. Born into the Habsburg dynasty, he inherited Spanish kingdoms from his mother and German territories from his father, creating an empire where the sun never set. Charles faced constant challenges from the Ottoman Empire, French rivals, and Protestant Reformation dividing his German lands. His reign saw Spanish conquest of Aztec and Inca empires, bringing unprecedented wealth through American silver. Exhausted by empire's burdens, he abdicated in 1556, dividing his lands between his son Philip II and brother Ferdinand. 6. Henry VIII, 1509 to 1547. Henry VIII transformed England through his 6 marriages and dramatic break with the Catholic Church that reshaped European religious landscapes. Initially a devout Catholic who earned the title Defender of the Faith, Henry's desire for a male heir led him to seek annulment from Catherine of Aragon. When Pope Clement VII refused, Henry established the Church of England with himself as supreme head, beginning the English Reformation. He dissolved England's monasteries, confiscating their wealth and redistributing land to create a new Protestant nobility. Henry's court became one of Europe's most magnificent, attracting artists and scholars from across the continent. 7. Francis I 1515 to 1547. Francis I of France epitomized Renaissance kingship, transforming France into a center of art, culture, and military power while engaging in lifelong rivalry with Charles V. His reign began with spectacular military success at Marignano in 1515, establishing French dominance in northern Italy. Francis invited Italian artists, including Leonardo da Vinci, to his court, beginning the French Renaissance and building magnificent chateaux like Chambord. His capture at Pavia in 1525 by Charles V led to imprisonment in Madrid, but he quickly resumed hostilities. Francis pioneered diplomatic revolution by allying with the Ottoman Empire against Habsburg power, shocking European opinion but demonstrating pragmatic statecraft. 8. Philip II 1556 to 1598. Philip II of Spain inherited the largest empire in European history from his father Charles V, ruling Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, and vast American territories. His reign marked the height of Spanish power, with American silver funding European wars and Spanish culture spreading globally. Philip championed Catholic Counter-Reformation, using the Spanish Inquisition to enforce religious orthodoxy. His marriage to Mary Tudor briefly united Spain and England, though the union ended with her death. The defeat of his invincible armada by England in 1588 marked the beginning of Spanish decline. Philip built the magnificent Escorial Palace Monastery, symbolizing his combination of royal power and religious devotion. 9. Louis XIV 1643 to 1715. Louis XIV, the Sun King, personified absolute monarchy and made France the dominant European power through his 72-year reign, the longest in European history. He centralized French government by building Versailles into Europe's most magnificent palace, where nobles attended court ceremonies that reinforced royal authority. Louis declared "L'État, c'est moi, I am the state," establishing absolute royal authority that inspired monarchs across Europe. His aggressive foreign policy expanded French borders to include Strasbourg and Franche-Comté, though later wars drained the treasury. Louis patronized arts and literature, making French culture prestigious throughout Europe and establishing Paris as the continent's cultural capital. 10. Peter the Great 1682 to 1725. Peter I of Russia revolutionized his backward kingdom by forcibly westernizing Russian society and building St. Petersburg as his window to Europe, transforming Russia into a major European power. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, Peter personally traveled throughout Western Europe to learn modern techniques, working as a ship carpenter in Dutch yards. He defeated Sweden in the Great Northern War, gaining access to the Baltic Sea. Peter forced Russian nobles to adopt Western dress, shave their beards, and send children abroad for education. He created Russia's first navy, reorganized the army along European lines, and moved the capital from Moscow to his new city of St. Petersburg. 11. Frederick the Great 1740 to 1786. Frederick II of Prussia combined military genius with Enlightenment ideals to transform a small German kingdom into a major European power capable of challenging Austria and France. His surprise invasion of Silesia in 1740 began his reign with dramatic territorial expansion and established Prussia's military reputation. Frederick survived the 7 Years' War against Austria, France, and Russia through brilliant tactics and British support, cementing Prussia's status among great powers. He promoted religious tolerance, abolished torture, and reformed Prussia's legal system while corresponding with Voltaire. Frederick's military innovations influenced European warfare for generations, creating the Prussian model that would eventually unify Germany. 12. Catherine the Great 1762 to 1796. Catherine II of Russia, a German princess who overthrew her husband Peter III, became one of Europe's most successful monarchs by expanding Russian territory and promoting Enlightenment ideals. Her reign added Crimea, parts of Poland, and vast territories from the Ottoman Empire, extending Russian borders to the Black Sea. Catherine corresponded with Voltaire and Diderot, promoting education and legal reform while commissioning the Nakaz, an attempt to create new legal code based on Enlightenment principles. She founded the Hermitage Art Collection, built magnificent palaces, and attracted European artists to St. Petersburg. Catherine's reign represented the culmination of Russian imperial power and cultural achievement. 13. Napoleon Bonaparte, 1804–1814, 1815. Napoleon Bonaparte transformed from a Corsican artillery officer into Emperor of France and Conqueror of most of Europe, spreading revolutionary ideals while creating the largest European empire since Rome. His military genius was demonstrated through victories at Austerlitz, Jena, and Wagram, where innovative tactics consistently defeated larger coalition armies. Napoleon's civil code became the foundation for legal systems worldwide, while his administrative reforms modernized government across Europe. He abolished feudalism in conquered territories and promoted merit-based advancement. His continental system attempted to isolate Britain, but ultimately contributed to his downfall. Napoleon's defeat at Leipzig led to abdication, but his return during the 100 Days ended at Waterloo. 14. Queen Victoria, 1837–1901. Queen Victoria presided over the British Empire at its zenith during the longest reign in British history until Elizabeth II, giving her name to an era of unprecedented progress and global expansion. Her marriage to Prince Albert created a model of domestic respectability that transformed the monarchy's image to moral exemplars of family values. Victoria's empire spanned nearly a quarter of the world's land surface, including India, Canada, Australia, and vast African territories, making Britain the dominant global power. The Victorian era saw revolutionary developments in science, technology, and industry. Victoria's descendants married into royal families across Europe, earning her the title Grandmother of Europe. 15. Wilhelm II, 1888–1918. Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, grandson of Queen Victoria, led Europe into World War I through his aggressive foreign policy and inability to maintain Bismarck's delicate balance. His dismissal of Bismarck in 1890 began a new era that challenged British naval supremacy and created alliance systems dividing Europe. Wilhelm's mercurial personality and inflammatory speeches consistently damaged German diplomacy, from the Kruger telegram to his support for Austria-Hungary that triggered World War I. His naval-building program challenged British maritime dominance and contributed to Anglo-German rivalry. Wilhelm's abdication in November 1918 ended over 500 years of Hohenzollern rule and marked the collapse of the German Empire.